So these are models and frameworks that you get to draw from. I had no, that sign was so weird. No fairing. But if I tried to write a sign in Chinese, it would be a lot worse. So, these are models and frameworks, and I'm going to ask you to choose from these and some of the other ones that are on the Moodle site in groups of 3, 4, 5 people each to take one of these models. Could be the ones we talked about here, it could be some other model. There's 6 of them up there. They're all the ones that are referred to in your OB1 text. And to, in a small group, to describe the model and then to think about it as it might relate to the US and Morocco. And to what extent does that model suggest differences or similarities? And sometimes you can Google Morocco and individualism and come up with a score. Other times you have to guess. You have to try to understand. So, and then I'm going to ask you to, as a group, put together a brief presentation. But this is not a presentation where you're going to come into a room and present it. It's a presentation that you'll put on the web, either using PowerPoint or some other mechanism that you can share and that you can read each other's presentations. And we'll talk about it when we're on the ground in Morocco, when you're actually having the experience of how that model may have helped you or may not have helped you. Questions about that? There is one of the low-res students posted that she was interested in the individualism, collectivism, Hofstede thing. So if you're interested in that, you can respond to her posting. Another one just sent me an email today. He's going to look at Bennett's ideas of cultural marginality. It's a great article. And what he wants to look at is the migration of people from sub-Saharan Africa through Morocco into Europe and how their identity changes. So it's a little bit different take on the assignment, but it's a cool take on it.
I had posted something too.
And you had said?
That I was interested in the cultural relativism. Austin.
Okay.
I mean, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, so sign up for these. And the experience that you have is more important than the models. But the models give you a framework to interpret the experience. So I don't want you investing, dozens and dozens of hours on this. But spend a few hours just kind of thinking about it, getting articulate to one of the models.
Do you have like a certain amount of like a length, a time length or something for these?
Oh, I think in the last couple of years people have done these in, most people do PowerPoint slides, and most people do fewer than 10 slides. 5, 6 slides, maybe 1 or 2 that present the model, and then a couple that contrast Morocco and the US, or look at the Moroccan experience.
Okay, thank you.
I know that many of you, if not most of you, have been to the Moodle site. If you look at the Moodle site down here, resources on intercultural communication, you'll see overview of ICC theory, multiple theory frames, and then Hall, Hofstede, House, Trompenaar, Hampton Turner, Klockan, and Stradbeck. So, and you click on any of these, so you click on Hall, and you get 3 readings to start with. And then you can go from there. So, yes.
Do you have these, just to kind of choose from them so you don't have to read all the articles, are they kind of, is there like a little outline of
There is an outline in your OB1 book. There's actually a very brief sort of description of each of the models.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is the forum that people have been posting to? Or which one is it?
I don't know where, there's a thing here which says ICC model presentation, and I don't know if,
No, there's
Under forum.
there's Lauren posted there. I think also some people have been posting to questions. Is that where it was?
Even in news form.
Yeah, Hofstede collectivism versus individualism. And so someone posted. No one's posted on this one.
Others like where there's different, the first, the November 1 thing. The introduction.
Oh, yeah. Here's we'll talk about this reflection thing briefly in a minute. So some people have introduced themselves already on here. Talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
So do you want us to do that?
Yes, I'll explain that in just a second. So here's what I want you to do. You want us to do that? What I want you to do. There's some reflective essays. There's the group presentation on culture. There's the final project. There's some readings, and then I have one other expectation up here. So, reflective essays. One is the introduction. Very brief, a paragraph. Who are you and why did you decide to do this? The second is a cultural autobiography. And there's a form on there, but you don't have to use the form. There's an alternative way of doing it, which has all sorts of cultural categories. And you can either fill out the form, or there's an alternative way to do it. But what's important are the questions at the end, which say, which aspects of this form, of these cultural aspects, which ones are most important in kind of affecting who you are and how you understand people who are different from you. I'll show you where that is. And then there's this thing called guides. And you'll find, this is when you're in country. There are 20 questions. I ask you to choose 2 of them. At any point during the time you're in country, there's like a question on money. What is your understanding of the role of money in this culture? Or there's another one on spirituality. There's another one on gender relations. And all of the questions end with, check out your assumptions with someone from the culture. So you're not just saying, I think these people are the most incredibly spiritual people I've ever met, but they have some problems with radical Islamists. No, you're going and I'm talking to people. I'm making some observations, I'm making some assumptions, and then I'm checking them out. I'm talking to people. So those are the 3 reflective essays.
So,
Yes?
okay, so I just, to make sure I'm gathering what we're doing right, that's just the one paragraph, the cultural autobiography. Is there written stuff besides just that form?
Yeah, there's a couple questions at the end. I'll show you this. Let me
I
just
haven't. I
You
mean,
haven't?
yeah, I just didn't know if there's not a paper expectation with that.
Not a paper, but you see there's some
I
questions
saw
at
that.
the very
That
end.
was
Yeah,
okay.
that's
And with
it.
the guides thing then?
The
is
guides is like, it probably ends up being about a page each.
Each question, okay.
Each question. Yeah.
Okay,
And have you looked at the guides questions?
yes.
Yeah.
When is
Boy.
the cultural
I just need to double check the deadline dates, but the group presentations, we just talked about that. And then the final project. It needs to relate to Morocco from an ICC perspective, so it can't just be something that interests you about Morocco that has nothing to do with ICC. It has to fit in with ICC. It has to be a matter of cultural encounters. I use that word kind of advisedly. The idea of there are at least 2 cultures at play here. So if you're looking at religion in Morocco, you're talking about various forms of religion. If you're looking at gender issues, you're looking at encounters, communication. It should integrate the learning cycle. It should not just be research, and it should not just be experience. It should be the 2 of them. About 8 to 12 pages long, and there's a nice little rubric on Moodle for it. So let me just turn, what was the question?